Sorry, I forgot my Kindle. It's in my... Just disentangle. I disentangle myself for a minute. The horrible microphone.
The verse today is which one?
I think it's the wrong one. I think it's 34. It should be 34.
Take it
9:20
from
34.
here. Yes.
I take it away?
Because in video...
Yeah, it's not the good one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You are young baby.
My body, really.
Okay. Trant cat.
Okay.
I'm going to try and have it translate. Maybe you can translate for this Prabhu, because
Yeah,
everybody else understands English, apart from Katri, she understands neither English nor French.
It's okay.
Ruski, sorry. Yes, you can chant. Okay.
She's speaking French, she's speaking French also.
You don't speak French, you don't speak English?
If you sit here, he's going to translate more or less. More or less. Okay, this is the book. This is the book in French. Okay. You can bring the book? Ask him. Okay. C'est le verset là.
Thank you.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Tasya Sannipavidabhya. Padnyas Tishra Susamata. Jagnas Jagya Bayat Putran. Nanurupa iti rite. So, I'll read the translation and then there's a few more verses because there's no purport to this verse. O King Parikshit, Maharaj Bharat had 3 pleasing wives who were daughters of the king of Vidarbha. When all 3 of them bore children who did not consider and reject them, and therefore they killed their own sons. Strange. Tasyavam vitatevam she tadatam jajatasutam marutstomena maruto paradvajam upadadu. The king Antavanyam Pratriya Patnyam Maitunaya Brihaspati Pravrito Varito Kabam Sapva Viryam Upasrijat. When the demigod named Brihaspati, who was attracted by his brother's wife, Mamata, who at that time was pregnant, he desired to have sexual relationships with her. The son within her womb forbid this, but Brihaspati cursed him and forcibly discharged semen into the womb of Mamata. This is another strange story, apparently strange. Okay, this has a purport. The sex so strong in this material world that even Brihaspati, who was supposed to be the priest of the demigods and a very learned scholar, wanted to have a sexual relationship with his brother's pregnant wife. This can happen even in the society of higher demigods. So what to speak of human society? The sex impulse is so strong that it can agitate even a learned person like Brihaspati. Samudhi Bhakti Vikas Swami Samudhi Bhakti Namaste Saraswati Devi Devani Pacharini Visesha Samudhi Pasyata Deshtane. So this is, in the 9th canto there's lots of small stories. This is one story about Brihaspati. Brihaspati is the planet Jupiter. Brihaspati is the name for the planet Jupiter. Same name. Yeah, Brihaspati. Anyway, so Brihaspati is a great learned scholar, but even he has been bewildered by this sex desire. Embarrassed. It's embarrassing, isn't it? I mean, you do something really stupid and it's in the Bhagavatam. It's like, how embarrassing. But we are embarrassed by this strong material desire, sex desire that we have. It's not news to us. When Prabhupada says the impulse is so strong, he has a human body. You know, we could give a list of the problems it leads to, like abortion. People using contraception, it leads to, so many kinds of divorce and separation and unwanted children and abused children and so many social problems with broken families and then there's many industries running on the basis of this sex desire. The whole fashion industry and the hair styling industry and the perfume industry and all the things that men do with their beards and their hair and people's earrings and jewelry, and it's all coming from sex desire. People want to look good or show themselves to have false prestige, which is a subtle form of sex life. People want to drive cars and have a nice house and look good. It's all sex desire, one way or another. But actually, human beings are not meant to just indulge sex desire. They're not meant to just grab somebody like a dog would on the street. More or less, people do like this. There's no control. But there is a civilized way to deal with it. There's a civilized way to behave. This is in the Vedic culture. The idea is that we get married. And we have a responsibility. We have a family, and we raise the family in consciousness. And his desire is controlled within the family, and people are not a disturbance. Yeah? If you're married and you stay with one partner, then you're not a disturbance to other people. If a girl's not married, she's looking for a boy, and if a boy's not married, he's looking for a girl. Or sometimes the boy's looking for a boy or a girl's looking for a girl. But this it's all a disturbance in society. So I was just going to read a little bit from Prabhupada. It's better to read from Prabhupada than not. So this is the French, if you want to read. C'est le verset là. So I'm going to read it's a verse by Lord Rishabhadev, and he's a father. Lord Rishabhadev is the incarnation of Krishna, but he's a father. He has 100 sons. Rishabhadev. It's that verse there, 551. Lord Rishabhadev, and he's instructing his sons. My dear boys, of all the living entities who have accepted material bodies in this world, one who is being awarded this human form should not work hard day and night simply for sense gratification, which is available even for hogs and dogs that eat stool. One should engage in penance and austerity to attain the divine position of devotional service. By such activity, one's heart is purified. And when one attains this position, he attains eternal, blissful life, which is transcendental to material happiness and which continues forever. So he's instructing his sons, don't run around behaving like pigs and dogs. In other words, don't go spending your mental and physical energy trying to enjoy your body. But I like enjoying my body. It just feels good. It feels natural. But it feels natural to a pig. It feels natural to a dog. Rabbits and monkeys and just all these animals. Cats here, especially, we see the cats. But there's a higher purpose. There's a higher purpose for human life. And when you actually understand the higher purpose, then you can give up the lower activity. Yeah? So it's a question of philosophical understanding of our position, and then understanding, how to control the lust by a mixture of knowledge and devotional service. So I'm going to read a little bit from Bhagavad Gita after. The point is that the human body has a special facility that we can understand spiritual life. So if we just behave like an animal, we're missing the point. We're missing the point of human life. So I'm just going to read some of the purport, the beginning of the purport. In this verse, Lord Rishabhadev tells his sons about the importance of human life. The word here, dehabha, refers to anyone who accepts a material body, but the living entity who is awarded a human form must act differently from animals. Animals like dogs and hogs enjoy sense gratification by eating stool. After undergoing severe hardship all day, human beings are trying to enjoy themselves at night by eating, drinking, having sex and sleeping. Isn't it? That's what people do. That's what people do. But there's something else that they should be doing. They should be doing. At the same time, they have to properly defend themselves. However, this is not human civilization. Human life means voluntary practicing suffering for the advancement of spiritual life. So the idea is that we control ourselves. We hear devotees talking about controlling the senses. That means only using the senses when you want to use them, yeah? So you will have sex life when you want to see it, and not you're walking around and you see somebody and they've just got one and they're eating it as they're going around. You see people losing their temper, becoming very angry, or you see people, actually fighting or running around at night. Sometimes you see, especially like in London or big cities, you see these young men just roaming around. Sometimes girls do, just roaming around, drunk, and what can we do? They're just like out of control. This is not supposed to be. Human beings are not supposed to be behaving like this. So we're supposed to be sober, and we're supposed to practice religious principles. We're supposed to follow the scriptures. And in this way elevate ourselves out of this animal mentality. Practicing sense control is the first stage. It's the first step. In the yoga process, there's the Ashtanga yoga process, there's 8 steps. And people talk about asanas and pranayama. But that's the third step and the fourth step. What they don't talk about is the first step and the second step. First step is the second yam, and the second niyam. What you must do and what you must not do. Before you do your asana and your pranayama, they don't tell you. But you're supposed to control your senses before you do all these other things, because it's not going to work. If you don't, the first step is to control your senses, and in other words, to behave properly. Okay. This is austere, to control your senses, to control your tongue, eat anything or chase anybody or just let it all hang out. You know, there's an expression in English. Just do it. But this is the way society is, isn't it? People are encouraged to express themselves. You know? Be who you really are. But it's all actually on the bodily concept of life. People, you can't express who you really are until you get to the spiritual platform. Because you're just expressing your mind at best. And then you're not the mind. You're not the mind. So there has to be some spiritual purification. So then you actually can understand who you really are. And then you can understand, actually, I'm a soul. Right now I'm in a human body. I've got a chance to escape from the cycle of birth and death, to transcend material consciousness. I have a chance to do it. Let me practice the process. So this is the austerity, to control the senses and to focus on spiritual practice. So how do we do that? Well, it still seems difficult, even if I know that it seems a little bit difficult to control my senses, because I'm not used to doing it under the sway of lust. Yeah? Lust, when it comes, is very strong. See the cow, when the cows are in heat, she goes, and she really calls out, really feeling the push, the push to meet a bull. Yeah. So this is strong desire. It's a material. It's hormonal thing. Yeah, it arrives. It's feeling strong, but there's a way to transcend it. There's a way to become aloof, detached. It's not immediately achieved. So the first step is, like I said, the first step is to be married and behave in a civilized way. And Prabhupada, so this is the Bhagavad Gita. There's a few verses I want to read explaining how to control it. 37 there. Sorry, I'm making you run up and down, but it's Krishna's service. So. Trump said, Chapitra Twa. So if you can read it, if you want to read it later, I can give you these references if somebody wants to read later. Oh, I have to go to the Bhagavad Gita, sorry. We don't want to be embarrassed, by running around like monkeys, I said we don't want to be embarrassed by, running around like monkeys. We want to be, we want to behave in a civilized way. It's not, we want to avoid this, making a fool of ourselves, Oh, did you hear what such and such did? He ran off and he did this, and this. Foolish person, we think, we see other people sometimes, people's foolishness more than our own. Anyway, Krishna's mercy, there by the grace of God go I. So this is chapter 3, and it's text 36. Can we start at 36? We just read the verses from 36. Even unwillingly, as if engaged by force. So you don't want to do something stupid and sinful, but somehow it happens. Why? Only Arjuna, which is born of... So the passion comes, the lust comes, and if it's not satisfied, it becomes anger. There's anger, which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. So, as fire is covered by smoke, as a mirror is covered by dust, or as the embryo is covered by the womb, Similarly, the living entity is covered by different degrees of this lust. Yeah? So the soul in the material world is covered by this lust. So this is analysis of our situation. Okay, next verse. Thus a man's pure consciousness is covered by his eternal enemy in the form of lust, which is never satisfied and burns like fire. Mm-hmm.
This is a 38?
Yes, 39. 39, yeah. I think I read two together, 38, 39. Okay, I'm going to read a little bit of the purport, a little bit of this purport, 39. It is said in the Manusmriti that lust cannot be satisfied by any amount of sense enjoyment, just as fire is never extinguished by a constant supply of fuel. Do you understand the analogy, yeah? The fire will just keep burning more and more and more. It's not that you keep putting wood and eventually the fire says, okay, that's enough. It will just keep going. So similarly, you try to satisfy lust by lusty activities, it will just keep going more and more. In the material world, the center of all activities is sex, and thus this material world is called Maitunya Agara, or the shackles of sex life. It's a bit heavy this, isn't it, all this stuff? It's quite heavy, but we have to understand it if we want to overcome it. In the ordinary prison house, criminals are kept within bars. Similarly, the criminals who are disobedient to the laws of the Lord are shackled by... What are the bars that keep us in the real world? In a prison? People are kept in by bars, yeah, on the prison door or window, or they're kept locked in. Yeah. So we are kept in prison in this material world. But what are the bars that keep us in the prison? What is the big? We don't see. Well, some of the windows have bars, but we don't see bars on the window. We don't see a big barred gate. We're free to move around. What is it that keeps us in the material world? Lust. Yeah. Prabhupada says, this lust is the symbol of ignorance by which the living entity is kept within this material world. While few minutes happiness, actually that so-called feeling of happiness is the ultimate enemy of the sense enjoyment. Why is it the enemy? Why is it the enemy? Why is this lust the enemy?
It makes us forget Krishna.
Makes us forget Krishna, yeah, and it gives us the idea that this world, well, maybe it's okay, I can enjoy, it's okay, I don't have to worry about it. It's the illusion, it creates the illusion. And this illusion traps us, and then we find ourselves getting old and dying, and again taking birth. And we may not take birth as a human being, we may have missed our chance. Yeah. Okay, and then there's analysis of where the lust is in the body. This is verse 40. The senses, the mind, and the intelligence are the sitting places of this lust, okay? The senses, the mind, and the intelligence. The sitting place of this lust, which veils the real knowledge of the living entity and bewilders him. Purport. I'm going to read a bit of the purport. The enemy has captured different strategic positions in the body of the conditioned soul, and therefore Lord Krishna is giving hints of those places so that one who wants to conquer the enemy may know where he can be found. So you have to know your enemy. If there's a battle, you have to know the enemy. Right? So this lust is in the mind and the senses and the intelligence. Yeah, if you want to do something sinful, have some ideas how to do it. really, because the lust has got our mind and our intelligence is captured. Mind is the center of all the activities of the senses, and thus the mind is the reservoir of all ideas of sense gratification. And as a result, the mind and the senses become repositories of lust. They don't tell you this, you know. They don't tell you this. The people in the advertising industry, they don't tell you this. But they know, right? They know. They know if they put all sorts of images in your mind, you know, you're going to go out there and you're going to spend your money on this, and this, and click and buy this, and this, and this, and this. They know they can, if they put the images there, you know, they put the idea, the person is going to be enslaved. Yes?
I'm doing it.
If you speak,
Let me just finish this and then we can discuss. Is that okay?
No, because it wants translation, but actually it's in when he soit tu viens là et tu m'écoutes moi,
parce que je lis, il a le même livre.
Non, c'est pour ça, soit tu viens et tu m'écoutes que moi, ou soit tu restes là et tu écoutes que elle.
oui, non.
But actually, Lord Chen was proposing I should always do.
I know. Maybe we can just do phrase by phrase. This is only a little bit more I'm reading and you can translate. Okay, so he's going to translate. Okay, so it's just a few more sentences. Okay, the intelligence becomes the capital of necessities.
L'intelligence, quant à elle, devient la métropole de ses
Intelligence is the...
Elle incitera à développer. Non, where are you,
Maybe it's not translated directly. It's that intelligence is the next door neighbor of the spirit soul. Elle est voisine.
Et comme elle voisine l'âme, une fois rangée par la concupiscence, elle l'incitera à développer un flux d'égoïsme sans s'identifier à la matière, donc au mental et au sens.
Yeah, he's put the two sentences together. Yeah. Okay, the spirit soul becomes addicted to enjoying material senses and mistakes this as true happiness.
L'âme, progressivement accoutumée à jouir de ses sens matériels, en vient à croire que là est le vrai bonheur.
This false identification of the spirit soul is explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Le Srimad Bhagavatam développe cette maîtrise de l'âme sur son identité réelle.
Okay. So we go to the next verse.
Donc on va aller sur l'autre verset.
You should wait to hear the end of the story.
She doesn't speak English.
I know. I can speak to her later. Okay. Therefore, the next verse, therefore, Arjuna, best of the Bharatas, in the very beginning curb this great symbol of sin, lust, by regulating the senses, and slay this destroyer of knowledge and self-realization.
Tu as saisi vite, de bout close.
41 verset.
3, 40. Oh Arjuna, commence par enrayer le fléau de la concupiscence, source même du péché, en réglant tes sens. Écrase le meilleur des barates, ce dévastateur de la connaissance et de la religion spirituelle.
The Lord advised Arjuna to regulate the senses so that he could curb the greatest sinful enemy, lust, which destroys the urge for self-realization.
Le Seigneur conseille à Arjuna de commencer par maîtriser ses sens, afin de pouvoir vaincre le plus grand ennemi, le plus grand pécheur, la concupiscence.
So he's telling Arjuna what to do to conquer this enemy of lust. So there's a little bit further on. Lust is the perverted reflection of love of God. But actually, it's love of God. It's So our love of God has turned into lust.
Donc l'amour a été tourné, a été changé en luxure.
So there's a way to turn it back.
Et donc il y a une façon de changer.
You can't turn yogurt back into milk.
On ne peut pas tourner le yaourt en lait.
Mais you can turn the lust back into love.
Mais tu peux changer la luxure. Tu peux la faire redevenir de la.
So we were saying how the lust has captured the mind and the intelligence.
Du coup, ils disent que la luxure capture l'esprit et l'intelligence.
So what we have to do, we have to use our mind and intelligence to do Krishna conscious things.
Donc, ce que nous devons faire, c'est utiliser notre esprit et notre intelligence pour faire des choses conscientes de Krishna.
And in that way we conquer the lust. That's the process.
Et comme cela, nous pouvons contrôler la luxure. C'est ça. Ensemble.
Yeah. Instead of making all plans how to satisfy our senses, we can make plans to satisfy Krishna.
Au lieu de faire des plans pour comment faire plaisir à nos sens, nous devons nous concentrer faire des plans pour savoir comment les utiliser pour Krishna.
It's quite simply put like that. You know, just think of Krishna. It's a simple concept.
C'est plutôt simple de dire ça comme ça, penser à Krishna, mais c'est un concept.
But it's a very profound thing.
C'est quelque chose de très profond.
Because otherwise we are stuck in the material world. We're stuck in this material body, and which is full of suffering, and mental and physical, emotional suffering. You may have noticed. So we can get out if we use our intelligence, our mind, and then our senses to serve Krishna. Somebody who's very advanced, he can just think about Krishna, he can meditate. But Prabhupada has given us a process of practically and in that way we please Krishna out of the material world. So this is the purpose of the temple. And it's the purpose of all the service that we're asked to do. So whether we're taking care of the cows, or whether we are cleaning the pots, or whether we're offering arti, or painting the bathroom, or whatever we're doing, we're serving Krishna. We're using our senses in a positive way. So do you understand the process? Yeah, is it clear what we're doing in the temple? Yeah, this is what we're doing. We're engaging ourselves positively in a spiritual life, rather than running around in the material world getting more and more bad karma. Which will entangle us in the lower species of life. The bad karma will bring us to a lower form of life. So if we serve Krishna, if we take this opportunity, serve Krishna, then we become gradually liberated. So we have to use our intelligence to consider what we're doing. Consider, oh yes, this sounds like a good idea. We can read Prabhupada's books and You know, when we get bewildered by material desires, the bewilderment comes, and we will become bewildered. We think we want material sense gratification, but we just read the books, we hear classes from devotees, we do service, and this bewilderment is cleared. We realize that this is what we should be doing.
Et donc, du coup, en lisant les livres de Prabhupada, dans les classes, etc., c'est quand notre esprit se met à penser à ce genre de choses, et on va se perdu, c'est justement comme ça qu'on peut le rediriger.
So it's not always easy, but it's simple.
Donc, c'est pas facile, mais c'est simple.
Yeah. Okay. You want to ask, please?
I think there is something important also on the way to serve and love Krishna is the service of the other devotees.
Yes, that's more pleasing. Actually, it's a very good point. It's more pleasing to Krishna if you serve the devotees than if you serve him directly. Yeah. But we have to serve the...
Because sometimes I have the feeling that some people are trying to serve Krishna in a not very good way, and they are not so involved, they are so dedicated to other people.
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
Relationship with Krishna, and that's not the
Yes,
way.
just Krishna and forget about you. Just me and Krishna. Right. This is a neophyte attitude. This is a beginner. Yeah, this is somebody who's a beginner. When somebody becomes more mature devotee, they understand that the other devotees are special. Very, very, very special. Like 1 in 10 billion people is, a devotee. The first level is called Kanishta. Yeah? And a Kanishta thinks, I'm the only real devotee here. There's only me. And there's the deities, but everybody else is... But then the second level is called Madhyam. And the Madhyam Adhikari, the Madhyam devotee, he understands there's Krishna, there's demons, there's devotees, and there's Krishna, demon, devotees, and the people. There's innocent people. Yeah. He understands there's 4 categories, but he appreciates devotees. Yeah, he appreciates devotees. He understands that somebody who's trying to serve Krishna is a special person. Even he's very rough, even he's uncultured. He's trying to serve Krishna, so he's a great soul, we should offer, we do this, isn't it? In the morning we offer our obeisances to everybody, but it's a symptom of a neophyte devotee that he's not relating properly with people around him. And it can be frustrating. I understand it's very frustrating for me. Sometimes yeah. Do you think Krishna's pleased with your behaviour? Do you think it's pleasing to Krishna? But he's trying to control his senses. He may not be able to. He may be angry or maybe greedy and grab the sweets or, leave the ashram in the bathroom is dirty, and he's not thinking other people have got to live here too, other people might like sweets or, is the way I'm behaving, is it pleasing to the other devotees? Is it pleasing to Krishna? Lord Chaitanya, just one last comment, but Lord Chaitanya, he was always serving the devotees, yeah? He was always serving the devotees. He would like to serve them prasadam, and he would hang up their laundry for them, and, So if we can do this, it helps us become humble, actually. Serving devotees helps us. Why should I serve the devotees? They're going to serve me, are they? It should be that we become a humble servant. And we're happy to serve devotees. It's not that, I suppose I have to do it, but it's like happy to serve devotees because you're so happy to live with devotees, Because what's the alternative? What's the alternative? The devotees may be a little rough, but material life is rougher. So, Hare Krishna. But we should, we should try and find devotees who we can really appreciate, who we want to emulate, who we can find inspiration in their behavior. We can, and we can look for people. It's not that we can always have good relationship with everybody. We can be respectful to everybody, but we have to find somebody who we can actually, relate. We want to open our hearts and have a, we can pray to Krishna, please give me some good association, somebody who inspires you. May not be many people.
Maybe not that easy in community, but we have to try to avoid judgment.
Oh yeah, because
the thing is, I think at the beginning I was like, okay, these people, I had the feeling they were not serving a lot for the community, but in someone who don't know who are doing what,
we have to have discrimination. We have to have judgment in the sense that we have to know who's a more advanced devotee or who's a less advanced devotee, because you have to deal with them accordingly, But, we have to know, if the food is good to eat or if the food is not good to eat, or we have to know, is now a good time to cross the road or not cross the road, or is now a good time to take my umbrella or put on warm clothes, or is it, we have to have judgment. We depend on judgment to run our lives. We have to judge. Now is the time to get up or whatever. If somebody's a criminal, we have to make a judgment. This person has got to be asked to leave or something. But we should see, in terms of other people, we should see this spirit soul. See the spirit. This person's a soul. He's trying to serve Krishna. Maybe he's a bit crazy, but he's trying to serve Krishna. And if you see the spirit soul, and he's covering, but so if we try and have that vision, does that make sense? See, somebody who's trying to serve Krishna. So, I want to be forgiven. I do crazy things, and then I have to forgive also. It's like what I will do in the future, so I better of the devotees, because they need help. We will need help. We do need help. We're not able to go back to Godhead on our own. Like, we have to take responsibility for ourselves, but we also need help. It's not ideal, it's far from ideal. The situation is so far from ideal because it's Kali Yuga. But at least we can understand the truth, we can understand where we're supposed to go, we can understand how to get there. So like a bus, if Prabhupada would give the example of a bus or an airplane. You're on the airplane for making advancement towards the spiritual world, and there's some other people on the airplane. You don't really want to be you're on the airplane, and that's what,
Can you explain a little bit on how because one of the relationships we can have with Krishna is, or one way to connect with him is through prayer.
Yeah, Vandanam.
Can you explain a bit how we pray to Krishna? What is more material type of prayer?
Well, Prabhupada recommends reciting prayers. Like the prayers, the Bhagavatam is full of prayers. If you recite them, you get huge spiritual benefit just by reciting prayers of Queen Kunti. I was just reading the prayers of the Prachetas, or the prayers of Dhruva Maharaj. Every canto there's prayers, so that's recommended. And then we learn how to pray from that. But we can also pray. I pray when I'm suffering. Suffering makes us pray, yeah. There's a saying in English, it's an American saying, there's no atheists in the foxhole. You know what atheist means, yeah? There are no atheists in the foxhole. So the foxhole is when they're on the battlefield and they make a little hole so they can hide down below the ground level, to hide from the enemy fire, So when a person is in that little space there, they could be killed any minute. So There's no atheists. Because he's suffering, he's like, help me, Krishna! So suffering is good for making us pray. I can arrange some more suffering so you're inspired to pray if you want. We can put you in a room with, no heating, bathroom, no hot water. Krishna! So, I find suffering is an impetus. But a pure devotee, he should just pray to praise Krishna, how wonderful Krishna is, how merciful he is, how beautiful he is, how you love him. That's the proper platform. You can meditate on the Shikshastika. Does that help? I don't know, I'm not. Prabhupada said, one last thing, sorry. Prabhupada said the only prayer we should say, spontaneous prayer, please give me strength to serve you. I do pray that one. But mental strength, physical strength, But you wanted to say something? Okay, all right. So now we're going to do a very important service. It's called Prasad Seva. Hare Krishna. Right. Thank you very much for trying. Merci beaucoup pour la traduction.
Avec grand plaisir.